How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence. Today, we're going to have 3 segments. That's what I'm calling it right now, okay? First one is going to be, we're going to talk a little bit about, somebody sent me a text I thought was really interesting, and it was about like me choosing to leave corporate life. And I just wanted to bring it up really quick because I thought it was a good question and you guys might relate to it. And I think that's great. I also have this like really high level bullshit internet question about sleeping around with a lot of people that I want to bring up. It's on the internet. I'm going to read some comments and I'm going to reflect on some of the comments. And then we're going to get real deep. Somebody sent in a question about feeling lonely, feeling like too much. Honestly, I'm going to give you a very, very deep understanding of loneliness and how to eliminate it from your life and your existence. It's going to be an interesting podcast. We're going to be going real high level bullshit, surface level bullshit, and then we're going to get real deep. So buckle the fuck in, and let's have some fun with it. So first thing, overall, life has been good. Just want to say that I've been living in my truth, and that feels so fucking good. Honestly, it's like, it's really nice. I have like no roster. It's just kind of like flowing and going, just like doing things that I love, like writing my Substack. Go read the Substack. It's been fire. Making podcasts, making videos, just being in my good energy. I'm not denying love or relationship opportunities. I'm just kind of having fun. And I realized that at this point in my life, it really comes down to if it feels in alignment for me and I really know I want it, I'm going to go chase it. I'm going to go show up and be it. But if it's not, I'm also going to be honest, right? If something doesn't work for me, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm good, swear. It's like, I am like a ninja now for like what works for me, what does not. And it is just equal this really centered, grounded, peaceful life. And it's not about the outcomes of things, right? I'm not saying this because, oh my God, I'm doing amazing because I'm getting results. It's not about results. It's like, I'm very comfortable with me. I'm comfortable with my energy. I'm comfortable with who I am. And that's going to be the theme of this podcast overall. And also, again, when we're really deep dive the loneliness thing, we're going to kind of talk about that. I'm going to break all that down. But my friend texted me something that I thought was really cool. And just like out of nowhere, spur of the moment, he sent me this text and he was like, where is it? He was like, are you pretty happy the route you went going the dating coach, social media lifestyle full time, or do you ever miss Deloitte? I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a time in my life that I worked corporate full time, right? Did all the things, right? I had my master's in global management. Wow, what a time to be alive. And I guess he was asking it from the context of like, all right, now that I'm, probably like 3, 4, 5 years deep, maybe I think it's like 3 or 4 years deep of like quitting my corporate job. Like maybe do I have any regrets? Like what are my thoughts? And so this is what I told him. I was like, I would say I do not miss it. It could feel more anxious sometimes for sure without the security and the structure. But if you learn to create that on your own and allow yourself to be patient, I can't imagine life another way. Just get to live life on my terms, doing the things that I really enjoy. But I would also suggest doing both for as long as it makes sense because it takes the pressure off the art and you get to have both. So for anybody that's ever thought about quitting their corporate job and doing something different, that is my advice to you, which is number 1, hold on. You don't need to do it right away, right? Use your job as a way to fuel your dream. Use your job as a way to fuel the engine, right? It was really nice that when I was growing my TikTok that I was able to just create. It wasn't about the outcome. And that's when the shit is the best. That's what I guess, again, everything I preach to you guys all the time. When you're doing it for the love of the game, when you're doing it because you love the thing, right? If you love cooking and you do it because you just love the process, you're going to make good shit. That's just the facts. And you're just going to do it more often. I think I had a podcast before, right? I said, the things that you are truly committed to, when you truly love something, you'll commit yourself to it. But here's the thing, and especially when it comes to like I don't know, let's say you want to be a content creator or a writer, an author or a painter or whatever the fuck it is that you know that you want to do deep in your bones and you're working this like corporate life. It's like when you shift your job to the art, it changes things, right? Because sometimes then it becomes, how do I create something so that I could survive? And this is just like relationships, right? When people become very needy to the relationship, they need a relationship in order to feel happy. It's the same thing. What ends up happening? You squeeze it, you do too much, and you end up losing it, right? You end up losing your spark. You end up losing your authenticity in it. So that's why I said it's about having that security for as long as you possibly can. But then when it's time, you're going to know to take that leap and to shift. And like I said, I think I said it in here, it's like, I couldn't imagine my life any other way. And so that's a lot of what this work is too. And, you know, I would say something that a lot of my clients experience and I experienced as well. And so I know this journey very well because I took this journey, right? The journey that you're on right now, where if you're trying to move from insecurity to security, you're trying to move from inauthenticity to authenticity, from doing things not from a place of lack, but a place of abundance. The level of trust, to trust yourself in that space, to be yourself, to do what you want to do, takes time. That doesn't happen overnight. You know what I mean? It took me a very long time to fully shift over into this. But what I guess I'm trying to say is, I think it's worth the journey. I think it's so worth you following your heart on the things that you know you want to do. I have clients all the time that come to me that, you know, yes, we're working on their relationships, but this work also is about your work and your career as well too, right? If you're not doing something that you love every day, what are you doing? That's what I would ask. What are you doing? Right? You're doing it for what? Usually it's survival, it's safety, right? It's safe to do the route of corporate. It's safe to do the route that your parents told you to do. It's safe to have the stable income, right, of that and benefits and all that shit. I don't have health insurance, by the way. I live life in a much different way than a lot of people too. But yeah, I guess that's the thing is like, I don't know. I just believed that if I did the things that I loved and I provided value and energy through myself, right? The things that I know that I genuinely love, I just believed in myself that eventually I would be stable enough. And so that's what I'm, was saying is that like, I think when you're shifting from corporate to maybe like entrepreneurship or anything like that, I would say you're exchanging depression for anxiety. That's essentially what you're doing, right? You're either stuck in a job you don't like and you're depressed, or you're trying to build a business and build up your personal brand or yourself or your art or whatever it is, right? And the anxiousness comes from not knowing where your next check is going to be. There's a lot of times in my journey as an entrepreneur where there's just times where like, yo, I didn't make a sale in the last month and a half, right? My credit card bill is $8,000, luckily 0% APR. And that's what I'm trying to say is like the journey of entrepreneurship, it's like that. It's like there's months where you're crushing it and you're like, I'm good. You're buying a bunch of bullshit. Bro, 3 months from then, you might just out of nowhere hit like this fucking cold streak. And you're just like, holy shit, like how the fuck am I going to figure this shit out? So that's a lot of what it is. It's like, do you have the appetite or the inner security to be able to follow your dreams and do what it is that you want? And I believe the same thing when it comes to relationships, right? Do you have the tenacity? Do you have the inner belief that if you are yourself and you follow your heart and you speak your truth, that you will receive what you want? And like I said, there's a journey to that. There's a very scary period in between that is not easy. And I mean, still even today, right? I think what ends up happening is over time, you just get more comfortable with the fact that you don't know. And because you're allowing yourself to be comfortable, you perform better. You show up to your work, you show up and you put in the energy, and it just flows so much better. Like now in my entrepreneurship, even if I have a down month or I've got some credit card debt, I'm like, it's all right. It's fine. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh my God, the house is burning. I need to make money today. I need to pump out 20 videos because if I don't do that, then I'm going to fucking die. No, we talk about this, right? It's being calm, right? Slowing down our nervous system, allowing ourselves to be safe, trusting ourselves, and just putting in the work. As I like to say, doing the dishes, right? Doing the mundane, doing the boring, right? Showing up, posting a video, showing up, posting a podcast. But eventually you create a life for yourself that is truly amazing. And I tell you guys this all the time. My life is fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. I can go to bed whenever I want. I can wake up whenever I want. I go to the coffee shop every day. You know what I mean? I make videos that I like to make. I get to just be funny. I get to come on here and speak to you guys on insightful shit. Like that's what I'm saying. There's still value, but it's stuff that I care about. That's what it comes down to, right? I love this shit. I tell you guys all the time. Do I not say, I love it? How many times do I say it on this podcast? I love it. It's the truth because I love to learn. I love personal development. I love to know why I do what I do. I was looking at I wrote down 5 core values for myself probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And it's on my refrigerator, and I looked at it today and I thought it was so funny because also I might go on a consciousness retreat. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I'm essentially going to be meditating for about a week straight, and I'm going to try to take off work and all this other stuff to kind of like, experience that with one of the teachers that I'm really down for right now. This dude is fucking probably the smartest person I've ever read in my entire fucking life. And I was like, I emailed him. I'm like, bro, I need to like work with you immediately. But yeah, long story short, I have 5 core values on that piece. It's a note on my refrigerator, and it is number 1 is consciousness. What is consciousness? To me, consciousness is the study of why we do what we do. It's getting to the truth of our existence. So that's essentially what I help you guys with, is understanding why we do what we do. And again, like I said, the reason I make money per se doing this is because that is my interest. I want to fucking know. I want to know the goddamn truth of why we are here, how to live this most immaculate, peaceful, amazing life possible. That was really my ultimate goal of my life. I think what the fuck is the second one? God damn, I don't even know my core values. It's okay. It's a long time ago. What was the second one? I'm not really sure. The third one is playfulness. I love to fuck around. That's who I am. I'm a fucking clown sometimes. I guess you call it jester maxing. I can't believe I even said that out loud. I'm going to put myself in timeout because I fucking hate the internet. I fucking hate it so much. All right. You know what? Actually, I'm going to give it love. I'm going to let the culture be the culture. Okay, Chris, calm down. Let it go. And then I think the 5th one is excellence and just doing things to the best of my fucking ability. And I think the other one is maybe like leadership or empowerment or the fuck, they're a little gay. They're a little gay. But I guess my point is this. You can build a life for yourself based on the truest version of yourself underneath. What you love to do, what you enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis, what you truly believe. You can make an income off of it, and you could have a relationship off of it. I've had some beautiful relationships in my life. I haven't had the thing yet, but I know that it's coming for me. But I guess I'm living proof when it comes to the actual career. Like, that's what I'm saying. I make money being myself. If you were to ask me what my job is, I would just say being Chris. How awesome is that if you were able to turn around to someone and be like, yeah, how do you make, what's your job? Oh, I'm just myself. How freeing is that? Imagine being able to go on your Instagram story, smoke some weed like I do, and then come on here and speak on whatever the fuck you want. You know, I don't know. It's a testament to the energy and the self-belief behind this. And again, the reason I preach these things to you and I come on here, I even have this, is because I know it's possible. I really do. And I hope you know that for yourself too. And I truly do believe that it is the best possible life. Okay. This was the thing I wanted to bring up about the fucking, I don't know. I saw this fucking meme on Instagram, Justin LeBoy or whatever. And it said, men with high body counts, what's one thing you learned from sleeping around? Now, I'll tell you mine, but I wanted to pick apart the comments a little bit. So again, the question is, men with high body counts, what's the one thing you learned from sleeping around? And of course, I'm going to tell you the women comments and the men comments. Women comment that they actually like men. I don't know. That's like the girl thing where like, if guys don't act the way that they want, they're automatically gay. Right? Oh, if you're sleeping around or you're a man whore, you're gay. Oh, if you're homophobic, you're gay. You're gay. All right, we get it. And there's some funny ones the girls put. Nothing, they still can't fuck. I mean, real. I feel like my skills, as I've banged more people, have gotten worse. Honestly, my performance back in the day, I used to be good. Because I used to care more. I really did. I was like, my performance matters so much. Now I'm like, I'm looking for love, bro. I'm not doing all this. You know what I'm saying? All the crazy bullshit. I'm good on all that. I'm like, can we have an emotional connection and sex, please? Like I'm no, but yeah, I'm not bad. I'm like defending myself. I'm like, I'm not terrible. All right. Not pretty good. I think I'm good. All right. Damn. And see, it's like, it's bullshit like this. And this is what I'm saying. And this is why the internet is so fucking stupid. And this is why, like, it grinds my gears because, you know, there's a man that commented and it was like, she's not yours. It's just your turn. And of course it has the most likes, right? Because what do we live in? A fearful culture. We live in a culture, and maybe they're just talking shit, right? Sure. Maybe. But I truly believe that maybe a lot of men feel like that. That's sad as fuck. It really is sad as fuck. Like the beliefs that we have about each other, like man versus women, is low-key insane to me. It's like, how do we actually connect and be in relationships in this culture? What's some of the ways that we push out these beliefs, how we fucking hate each other, men are gay, fucking men can't fuck, oh, she's a slut, it's just your turn, that people are gonna betray you. It's fucking sad. It really is. And then, of course, girls are trying to backlash, and they're like, and it's funny because you could just see the hope in their words, which is like, they're going to learn how much they miss the girl that's actually making them crash out, sleeping around with multiple people. AKA, what she's trying to say is, oh my God, he's going to care so much about the one that got away. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies. I mean, I personally don't believe that. I don't know why that's like a big cultural thing. And yeah, it's just like, to me, that's coping with the loss of, like, you know, when like women are dating a guy and it's like her guy, you know, every girl's got a guy. They really do. And he goes away, and it's hard because I think for a lot of women in those situations, you don't know how to cope with the feelings of losing that person. And so in order to reject your own sadness and your hurt, you try to be angry or cope with these like thoughts, to me, that like, oh, they're just shitty, or they're whores, or they're going to be sad one day, or all this bullshit. And I don't know, to be honest. And I was talking to my client about this today. I really was like, we were having this conversation about, like, obviously she's really sad about this one particular guy, right? She can't get herself, you know, off of this. And what she says is that she's like, yeah, sometimes I try to just make up things that would make me angry at him. You know what I mean? Right? That's how a lot of people deal with these emotions, is like, oh, well, if I villainize them, then I'll feel better. But ultimately they never do. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these women that are putting those comments out there and liking it, essentially what you're projecting is your own feelings of sadness and your own feelings of rejection that you struggle to handle. And honestly, what it really comes down to, I think even deeper than that, is this feeling of lack and this feeling of loneliness and this feeling of, why couldn't I get that person to stay? And, we always just blame like, oh, well, he just wants to like fuck all these other people. And, that is like, there's some truth to that, right? But again, I don't know. Is he wrong for that? I don't really know. As I'm saying, I think it just is. I'll give you the man side of that, right? Because usually these men that are sleeping around a lot, yeah, you could say that they probably have low self-worth. I would agree with that, right? There were some comments that were made in that way. I also think that there's a lot of men that have a fear of settling down. And there's definitely women that are like that too, but I would say a lot more on the man side, right? Closeness is a little bit scary. Vulnerability is a little bit scary. And yeah, sometimes it really is this feeling of like, I don't know, because I tell you guys on this podcast too, I've had those feelings as well as a man, right? Which is a lot of the women that I've dated felt like they weren't enough. I felt like they weren't enough for me. But really a lot of that is even my own inner feelings of like, I don't know, it's the fear of settling down. It's the fear of missing out on something better, honestly. So to me, both parties have work, right? Both men and women have work. Now, when it comes to the lesson that we learn from like sleeping with a bunch of people, I think people like take this and they're trying to make it seem like, oh my God, these people are like fundamentally broken because you've had sex with a bunch of people. That's not really what it is. I don't believe that at all. I really don't. The reason that people sleep with a lot of people is sometimes different for different people, right? So for instance, like you could become hypersexual because of traumatic experiences in your childhood, right? Sometimes people that were, I don't want to go into the technical or the whatever terms of it, right? Can become hypersexual. There's some people actually that feel so bad about themselves inside that they feel that their only value is sex. I've had a lot of women clients in which they had a lot of sexual partners, not because they're just this raging fucking whore. It's actually more because they felt that sex is the way to actually connect with somebody, that somebody actually wouldn't accept them for who they are as they are. And they felt so low about themselves that they would just give sex immediately to try to get people to stay. And so it's crazy, right? It's like, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I don't know, I guess for men it could be different, but there's so many different beliefs and reasons that we do the things that we do. So I think, again, we have this cultural assumption that there's always this like one answer to all of these questions, which to me, again, is not true. I think it's very personal to each person. Now, I guess let me say my 2 cents of like what lessons I learned for me, I would say, of somebody that I guess I've slept with like probably, I don't know. I don't really know what my number is. I would say somewhere probably between 40 and 60, maybe 70. But that's what I'm saying. I honestly do not remember the amount of people that I slept with because I don't even remember the shit I've done more than 2 years ago. But I would say that the reason that I was sleeping around was because I wasn't conscious of what I wanted. I really feel that I was trying to live this life where I think I wanted to almost like, this is going to sound strange, but almost like prove to myself that I got it like that, or that I was like cool. And maybe not even prove to myself, probably inadvertently the world, weirdly. And that's why I tell you guys, like, I used to be very insecure, really, genuinely. And at the end of the day, I was human though, right? And just like these people, right? Just like these men that you're dating that are, you might say are like whores, or even the women that you might say are whores, they're just humans going through a process. they don't understand fully what they're doing or why they're doing the things that they're doing. And this isn't even to say that sleeping around with a lot of people is even inherently wrong. What if that's genuinely what you wanted to do? Is that a problem? Why is that unhealthy? I think anything could become unhealthy if it's an addiction, right? If it's your only source of pleasure. But if you're a type of person that sat there and you're like, hey, I personally like to be with a bunch of different people and that's just what it is. Who's to say that that's wrong or unhealthy or low self-worth? But I would say for myself, as somebody that is grounded more in this idea that, I don't know, I truly believe that I want a deeper connection. I genuinely believe that. I was never really a person that was like a slut even beginning. Like me in middle school and high school and college, I think I had one body, 2-3 bodies, sophomore year, junior year of college, maybe 1 or 2. I was not fucking like that. So my sluttiness really took place in my 20s. And so, like I said, I think it was this, you know what it is? I think for a very long time throughout life, I had this feeling of insignificance. I tell you guys all the time, where I didn't feel lovable. I didn't feel maybe very valuable. And I kind of held on to that, into college. And then I started to realize that, oh, I can get attention. Oh, if I work out, then girls will like me. Oh, if I make some money, the girls will like me. Oh, if I just, if I could learn to fuck better, girls will like me even more. I swear to God, I think that there was a moment in my life where I was like, hey, I haven't slept with enough people. I need to go out there and start fucking because I want to be really good at this. Swear to God, I had that thought probably at like 23 or something. And I was like, I got to get the reps in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I gotta start doing it. So yeah, it was just a process. Like I said, I was insecure. Like I didn't feel good enough as I am. Now, do I look back and do I regret them? No, I also don't regret them either though. I'm not like, oh my God, that sucked. I'm like, no, that's just who I was in that season of my life. I don't feel shameful for that. And I think people like to guilt people for that. Who gives a fuck? You got 20 bodies, 100 bodies, 80 bodies. Guess what? It doesn't really matter to me. What really matters to me is, why did you do it? Do you understand yourself? And who are you now? Right? Where are you in this journey? Like, can somebody judge me for that time period? Sure, absolutely. You could if you wanted to. But that's just who I was at the time. And I think girls, they sometimes feel like this, right? Because there's this societal pressure to have low body count, whatever it is. And it sucks, right? Like I have worked with a client where that's a little bit of her like insecurity in a way, is that she slept with a lot of people. And again, not because she was a whore, but actually because she was insecure. What, is she not worthy of connection because she had slept with a bunch of people in a time of her life where she didn't value herself that much? And you see what I'm saying? It's like, if we were to have that vulnerable, deep conversation and the person that you were was grounded and you've developed yourself and all that stuff, the right person is going to be able to hear that from you, handle that vulnerability, and not judge you for it. That's what I'm saying. For me right now in my life, I understand that about people. When people are flawed, like even the people that are on Instagram bullshitting right now about the gay thing, or like, men being insecure, or men thinking that all women are sluts. It's like, I have compassion for those people because I understand that they don't understand, and a lot of the ways that they're speaking is just projecting fear. Men that say that about women are just projecting their own insecurity. It's true. But same thing about women. When women attack men for being sluts or being gay or whatever the fuck, they're not understanding, but you're projecting your own fear. You're projecting your fear that you're not chosen. You're projecting your fear that you're not enough as you are. And the same thing for the men. Not to get all deep on you, like, I guess that's the name of this game though, right? But yeah, I guess I didn't finalize the lesson, but I would say the overall lesson for me personally, right, was that I don't want those short frill type connections. Now, don't get me wrong. And this is me being honest as fuck. Swear on my life. If I meet a girl and she's pretty and I know that I don't want more than sex, would I still be down to have sex with her? Absolutely. I told you guys one time. Because I don't want to like involve myself in these half-half connections, but you know, sometimes sex is fun. Let's keep it real, right? Is it not fun to sleep with somebody, especially somebody you've never met? Like you're vibing, you're out. Let's say you're on a night out and you're drinking, you're having a couple drinks. Why not? Is it wrong? Now, am I going to do that with a girlfriend? No. If I have something special with somebody, I would never want to jeopardize that for one night of fun. I've learned my lesson. I'm somebody that has put my relationships in jeopardy by being with other people before. I have. I fucked that up with like the long distance situation, right? We were long distance and, you know, I guess we weren't fully together, but like we were exclusive. But still, like I broke the trust in that relationship over some dumb shit. And I guess that's maybe the part of the lesson that I learned as well too, is that if you do that enough, you realize how low vibrational it really feels if you want something deeper, right? Knowing that I want a deeper connection when I have those short-term connections, that's what I'm trying to say. If I don't allow myself to just have a moment versus doing it a lot, you see what I'm saying? Like that will fuck me up. I will not feel good about myself if I'm sleeping with somebody that I know I don't really like. Like that. You know what I mean? I can still find you attractive in a moment and have a moment. It's like, yeah, I can have an ice cream, but I'm not having ice cream every fucking meal. You see what I'm saying? It's like I'm down for some dessert every once in a while. But if I had steak, I'm good with my steak now. You know what I mean? Like I'm good, right? Like back in the day, you might want to be like, all right, fuck it, I'll stack the dessert on it. Now it's kind of like, nah. Like, check myself. And if I ever felt like I wanted to sleep with somebody else, I would just not be with the person that I'm with because that's a problem. I realized that for myself. If I'm not in it, I'm not in it and I'm not staying. So I guess that's the lesson is, I don't know. It taught me that I want something deeper in my life. All right. So question. This person was asking about loneliness. So let's jump into the question first. Oh, you guys are going to love this. And maybe you won't. I don't really know, but I love it. So maybe you're going to love it. Because I love it, I think you might love it. And it's funny because it's coming from a very deep question, by the way. Okay, so question is, I don't want to say your name. You said your name, but I'm not going to say it out loud. Feel like I am too much for people and hate the feeling of being a burden. That is such a torturesome feeling. So, and just really quickly, I want to connect those two, right? If you're feeling like you're too much ever in a relationship, what you're really saying is that you do feel like a burden, right? If I'm too much for somebody, what does it mean? I'm a weight, right? I'm pulling them down. I'm too much, right? My energy is too much. My existence is too much. And we're going to get into this because this is the shit, man. And I will say that I would say majority of my clients, they have this feeling of being a burden. And it leads to a bunch of fucking people pleasing, which is insane because, you know, it's funny. You feel like you're too much, but what's also wild about that is that it's like you're not getting your needs met at all. You're too much, but you're also not getting anything. To me, it's great. We're going to get into it. Just bear with me for a second, please. Just feel so alone nowadays, but I understand it is life. We're going to get into that motherfucking sentence right there. Do enjoy my time, peace and quiet. I struggle a lot and my mom passed away from COVID. I'm sorry to hear that. And she just said, best, wait, I don't know. They gave me your cell phone number. I don't know why I did that. I'm not calling your ass. So, okay, let's talk about these two things. And, to be honest, here's where they're going to intersect and connect. So what you're saying is you feel so alone, right? Now, when we feel alone, we feel disconnected from others. And here's the double part, right? You're saying you're feeling like you're too much and a burden. So this is where these two things kind of collide. I think they're separate, but they lead into each other, which is you feeling like a burden is essentially what you're saying is you yourself as you are is not enough. And so what happens is you treat people that way. Inadvertently, you put people on a pedestal. When you put people on a pedestal, what do you end up doing? The most, right? If you think that somebody is inherently better than you, and I know you're not even saying it like that, but that's what ends up happening. If somebody's on a pedestal to you, what do you end up doing? More, right? I feel less than you. So if I feel less than you, I owe you, right? If I feel like a burden, how do I even the score? Doing more, doing what you say. You tell me what to do, I'll do it. And guess what? I'll do it for free. But is it really for free? No, because you know that you want something from that situation, right? But being a burden, if you feel like a burden, you feel like you don't deserve what it is that you want in return. Because you feel like you yourself, your existence is not enough. And so this is why we need to tackle the loneliness thing first. Okay, so I'm going to read this out to you guys, and we're going to break it down little by little. So you guys are going to understand, by the end of this, you guys are going to understand loneliness, feeling empty, and why you're always chasing a relationship and why those relationships are not working out with you as a result. Because that's what's happening to you, right? You essentially are feeling like a burden, which means that you don't feel like you are enough. You essentially show up to every relationship and you put them on a pedestal. You give them everything that they want. They ultimately still don't respect you and reciprocate your needs. You feel resentment. They end up breaking up with you. Then you feel lonely. You feel lonely because you're by yourself and you feel like you need somebody in order to have value. You don't get your value inherently. That's the problem. So, okay. Let's break this down. You guys ready? So our most basic experience is one of being existentially alone. As a self, we are isolated and exist in a condition that is separate from everything else, especially from all others. So let me break down this paragraph. Essentially, we start off with our experience as human beings is alone. The way that you're living your life in your fucking head, no one else has access to, right? That's it. It's just you and you, right? So inherently, our existence is lonely. We are by ourselves because we're by ourselves in our own mind, right? So we're isolated from people inherently. That is just the way life is. So because you live in this private inner world that nobody else can experience, you realize that nobody can get inside of your brain, inside of your mind, inside of your experience. And because no one else can be there, the only way to connect with somebody else is through communication. So what we're saying is, we live in our private world in our heads, and the only way for other people to access that private world is for us to talk, right? There needs to be some sense of communication. I need to describe to you what is going on in my head for you to understand my experience. Hopefully we got that. And so when this isn't happening, you feel alone, isolated, and lonely. So essentially what we're saying is a sense of loneliness comes from when another human being is not able to receive our inner world through our communication. That's why people feel like that when they're what? Alone at night, home alone. They're not having that communication. That's why a lot of people that are codependent or afraid to be alone, whatever it might be, this is what happens. When you don't have a partner in your life to communicate to, what is happening is there is no way to distract yourself from your own feelings. Essentially, what people are pretty much doing are using relationships as a way to avoid feeling that sense of loneliness, which is them being in their own inner world by themselves. But again, life inherently is lonely. So the core issue is you aren't okay with being. That's the issue. You are not comfortable with yourself. And when we say being, we're talking about just existing. You realize you listening to this podcast, even right now, or just you right now in whatever chair you're in, whatever the fuck you're doing, nobody else has access to that. That's life. You know what I mean? We all have this experience inside of ourselves that nobody else will ever be able to be there all the time. That's what it is, right? Again, we talked about the communication thing. Like they can understand it through our communication, but ultimately, this is it. You and yourself is it. And your existence as being feels incomplete. And so you need the imagined promise that someone can somehow complete your experience. So essentially what you're saying out loud when you're saying you're lonely is that you need somebody else to fulfill the experience of being for you. You are not comfortable with the experience that is happening in your own head. So, but here's what's happening. Your experience of loneliness requires imagining another possible world that you don't have. That's where the fantasy comes in, right? Oh, if only I was around somebody else. Oh, if only I was in a relationship, right? I would feel happy. And so you are alone and you imagine not being alone would be more satisfying. Exactly what I just said, right? If I wasn't by myself, I would be happier. You assess that you, by yourself, are not good enough and not complete without someone else to validate you. And why do I say imagined? What you currently experience is your body and what you perceive occurring. There is no loneliness there. The loneliness is added through imagining comparisons to what you don't have but think you need. Stop imagining this added layer and it doesn't exist. And essentially what is being said here is that you're not actually lonely, right? You are always connected to your experience if you allow yourself to be there and stay connected to it. The loneliness is added by comparing and saying, oh, well, if I had something else, a relationship, more this, more that, then I would feel complete. Essentially what you're saying is your existence as it is not enough. And so what ends up happening is your brain then perceives, oh, well, if I was in a relationship, oh, that old partner I had when we were having fun and we were hanging out, that was the best time of my life. The only thing that was happening in that moment is that you had somebody around to validate your experience. The experience that you yourself are not comfortable with in your own head. So, and here's the thing, right? We have these distractions, these imagined worlds that we all wish we were in, right? Sadness. And most people override this feeling of loneliness with distractions. Anything that keeps the mind busy and occupied. This is where we get the people that are so deep in their work, right? You distract yourself with your work. Anything to not fucking sit there and be in your experience. But here's the truth. It will come around to bite you at some point, right? So what I'm asking you in this moment is, at some point or another, you're going to have to face the fact that the experience that you're having in your body and in your mind and in your awareness is all you have. It is. And essentially what we're saying is, can you get comfortable with the mundane? Can you get comfortable with just existing, with just being, not needing something outside of you to occupy the lack that you feel in your own experience? So here's the resolution. Grasp that you are already complete and whole, and that your experience is all that is needed, no matter what it is. So essentially what we're saying is, you are whole as you are with the experience that you have, and you don't need anything else. How does that feel? Imagine if you were comfortable with the fact that all you needed was your experience that you're having right now. You listening to this podcast, you doing the dishes, you sitting around listening to music, you driving to school, you going to work, you doing an Excel document, you tweezing your eyebrows, getting your hair cut. Why do we add so much shit on top of what life needs to be? And this will go a long way to you ending your own loneliness. And also consider this is a side caveat. If you deeply experienced being connected to all others and reality, and so not separate or isolated, would it matter very much you lost your separateness? We cling to this sense of self because it is all we have, yet this might also be an illusion. Now, this is a tricky paragraph. Because what it's saying is, this isolation that you feel is a concept. It's not actually real. If you allowed yourself to be in your experience and to be connected to life and reality, you could let go of loneliness. You could let go of this idea that you need to be something, or you need something outside of yourself in order to feel whole as you are. So this part is a little tricky, but I'll say it just to wrap up the thought. Your self-awareness exists solely within the social domain. You are separate because you distinguish yourself from others. That's essentially what we're saying, right? It's ego. This idea that you are somehow inherently different or separate than other people is actually what is causing your loneliness. Who you are prior to any social context is very different than who you live as. What composes your social self-experience is made up of many assumptions, and although it seems full of significance, it's all just a meaningless story being given meaning. Now that shit is very hard for you to maybe just understand off this podcast. But I'm going to do my best to describe that. He's pretty much saying that who you are is not what you think that you are. Think about who you were when you were born. Were you a dancer? Were you your name? Were you not significant? Were you significant? For you, right? When you were born, just being born, a brand new human being, are you a burden? Are you too much? Or was that belief an assumption, something that you've carried because of the experiences that you've had in your life? What most people don't realize is they're so connected to their beliefs that they don't understand that who they are is so much deeper than that. And so I guess to answer your question, right, about this feeling of loneliness. So for us to take this thing that we just kind of learned, let me ask you, are you really a burden? Or are you a burden because you believe that you're a burden? And because that you believe that you are a burden to other people, how do you show up? Put them on the pedestal, right? They're better than you inherently. Why? Why is their experience of humanness more important than your experience? And who's to say that it's better? That in itself is a concept. This idea that you are not enough as you are is bullshit. It's made up. It's completely a concept that you've been living out your entire life. And this idea that you are lonely is actually from you. When you are connected to yourself and connected to your experience, that's why I said loneliness is disconnection from self. It's not that you don't have other people around you. The reason it feels that way is why? Is because you feel like you as yourself, as you are, is not enough, that you need somebody else to verify that experience. But imagine if you said, hey, the experience that I'm having as I'm having it is good as it is. And somebody coming into my life doesn't need to validate that. How do you think that you're going to date differently if you feel that way about yourself? If you feel that your experience and your existence as it is whole as it is, are you going to put other people on a pedestal? No. So how are you going to treat them? Like they're another human being. You're going to respect yourself as much as you respect them. You're not going to do what they say. The reason you do what they say is because you feel that you're not enough, but that whole idea of you not being enough is made up. That's crazy. But you have to face yourself. And I guess that's what we're really saying about the loneliness thing. And this is, even I'm speaking to my clients right now and also the people that are listening just in general. But because a lot of my clients, we deal with this. I want to challenge you. Be by yourself. Experience your experience. Can you accept that this is all there is? Why do we run away from the mundane and the boring so much? Because what? We need to make life special? Because we don't know why we are here, most people, that's what it is. They feel like they need to create an identity to give life meaning. But if you just accepted the fact that you don't know why we are here, what happens? Peace, freedom. Instead of needing to be something for somebody else, you'll accept that this is all we are, an experience. You don't need them to validate you. You aren't a burden. Eliminate the idea of a burden or not. And get very comfortable with yourself. Get comfortable with the mundane. Get comfortable with the boring. Get comfortable with doing the dishes. Isn't it funny how that's really what life is in a nutshell? When I think about the human experience over the long haul, sometimes we I was thinking about this today. I was like, you look at old people. What do old people do, right? Look at an old person's habits. How are they different than yours? This is what I was thinking about today. And I was like, it's funny because when you would imagine an old person, you kind of imagine them doing nothing, right? Kind of sitting on a rocking chair, just vibing. You know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck are you doing? The little kid inside of me is like, whoa. Move around, do something. But I think what ends up happening as you get older is you recognize deeper and deeper that what is happening right now in your present moment is all that you have and it's all that matters. And all this striving to be something, to create all this importance and to be special, that doesn't make you more special than the experience of just sitting there in a rocking chair. I know ego doesn't want to hear that. Survival doesn't want to hear that. Imagine living life out of survival, of thinking that you need to make yourself something and be cool and be amazing, and you just accepted yourself as you were. But you're like, Chris, but how would I survive? But I don't get it. Like how are people supposed to know me? Are you saying that I can't be in a relationship, that I can't be? No, I'm actually saying the opposite. I'm saying do it from a place of wholeness. That's what I told you about my life in general. I'm living more for the experience. And what I do is I figure out what is the experience that I like to experience, and I experience it. And it's crazy because guess what? You're experiencing your life through survival. What's the difference? You're running around putting out fires every single day. Oh, I got to go to work. Oh, but what if my boss thinks I'm ugly? Oh, but my old ex, I wish I was with them still. Blah, 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 blah. Constantly in fear and in anxiety and overthinking. Versus like, this is my point, is believing that you could be safe as you are doing the things that you want to do. You know, most people would look at my life and be like, it's way too lax. It's way too relaxed. Oh, you don't wear your seatbelt when you drive? No, I don't. I just kind of chill. You know, I do what I want. Oh, I want to smoke? Cool. Oh, I want to do that? Oh, cool. I want to say that? Oh, I'm going to say it. Oh, don't do that, Chris. Whoa. Go back into survival, Chris. It's better over here when you're constantly making sure that everything around you is perfect and you're needing other people to tell you that you're amazing, Chris. No, I don't. Not anymore. You know what my mantra is? And it's on the background of my phone. I am significant even if nobody's around. Imagine if you felt that way. You were significant even if nobody told you that you were. Even if nobody was around. How would you feel? That feels kind of lighter, right? Oh, nice. You know, I'm not running around trying to make $1 billion to prove to people that I'm something. I'm not jumping into the first relationship that comes across my path because I don't need a relationship in order to feel good. I'm not a burden to other people because I know that the right people will just reciprocate my energy. And I show up grounded and I show up as I am because guess what? I don't need them to feel whole. But the only way you get to this place is when you allow yourself to step into being comfortable with your own experience, not comparing your experience to other people and thinking that it's not amazing as it is. Whatever you're doing right now, if you're driving a Honda Civic, if you're sitting in a school bus, if you're sitting in a mansion, you realize all those people are just having a human experience despite the environment. Right? Why is somebody that's driving a Lambo having a better experience than somebody that's driving a bicycle? The only way that your experience wouldn't be as good is if you thought that your experience as it was not enough. But then you're like, but Chris, how am I going to make money then? How am I going to let other people know that I'm amazing? I'm not saying you can't have an impact, and I'm not saying you can't make money. What I am saying is, why don't you make an impact and make money doing what you love all the time and doing it relaxed and doing it for fun, not from a place of lack, not from a place of need, not from a place of survival. The next relationship you get into, not because you need it, not because you feel that you yourself and your experience as it is not enough. Watch your world fucking change. But like I said, there's a gap. To get from one place to the next and feel safe takes a lot of work. So, if you ever wanted help with that, this is what I do. I hope this stuff made sense. I know it's like kind of complex ideas, and I'm trying to get better myself at being able to break these things down for you to help you enjoy your experience way more. Because that is what you're going to find. That's what I was saying about the old people, is that That's all you have. Whether you like it or not, it's all you have. You can keep trying to push yourself in all these different ways to try to contort yourself to feel whole through all these external things, but one day you'll realize. That's what I'm saying. One day you'll be able to sit there, do the laundry, and you'll be able to just do the laundry. And you won't be thinking about the guy that fucked you over, or you won't be thinking about how do you make more money so that people can like you. You'll be able to just be in your experience. Doesn't that sound nice? So I'm sorry that you're feeling lonely, and I'm sorry that you feel like a burden, but I would want you to challenge those beliefs for yourself. Ask yourself, why am I not comfortable with my experience as it is? Start there. All right, guys, I love you, and I'll talk to you real soon. Oh, if you ever want to work with me, you know where to fucking find me.